I'm Suzanne Boyd, and we welcome Rich Prestegaard, one of the partners and also head of business development for High Road Capital Partners. Thank you for joining us on M&A TV.
Sure,
we appreciate it. So tell us a little bit about what you do in business development. What does that mean?
Sure. Well, let me just do a quick overview on High Road to give some context of what I do. High Road is a classic private equity buyout group focused on the smaller end of the middle markets, which we define as businesses that have $3 to $10 million of EBITDA or cash flow. My role is to tap into that vast universe of companies in the United States. I don't know what the number is, but it's in the hundreds of thousands of businesses that fall into that characterization. So I'm out there building relationships with businesses as well as their representatives to hopefully have them think of us when it comes time to do a selling transaction.
To sell.
Yep.
And what are you seeing as far as is the seller's market, you say?
It's a seller's market for sure. It's better to be a seller than a buyer right now. The competition in our industry has grown and become so much more challenging by a very high magnitude since I joined in 2007. Everything from pricing to terms to time to close, you need to bring your A game in all facets of what we do.
Is that because there are more private equity firms out there?
There's a lot more private equity firms out there. There's a lot more private equity firms that are more efficient out there, that have people like me trying to find these opportunities where there didn't used to be that many. And on the seller side, there's more efficiency as well, more bankers and better educated sellers as well.
Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about some of the hot industries that you are going after right now.
Yeah, sure. From a deal flow perspective, we've seen the hottest sectors be industrial, healthcare, and consumer, just looking at our statistics. It's been that way for the last couple of years, and I kind of think that it's going to continue to be that way. Sectors that we're seeing a little bit more pressure and probably a little bit of a slowdown are more cyclical sectors like automotive.
Mm-hmm. And so what are you projecting for 2019 for your industry?
I think 2019 is going to be more of the same. We're going to continue to see this hyper-competitive environment. We're going to continue to see high multiples, unfortunately, on the buy side. For those of us with portfolios with companies that will need to sell, that's going to be a good thing for that part of the equation. But it's a very good thing for American and Canadian business owners. In my case, we focus on both those markets because they're going to realize multiples that they've never been able to realize in history before.
What are some of your biggest challenges?
Well, that's just it. The competition is probably the biggest challenge. Finding ways to differentiate ourselves and be the ones that prevail at the end of the transaction process is enormously challenging. There's many factors that go into who's the winner, and finding the right mix of all that is really challenging.
Yeah, so do sellers go after a bunch of different firms and ask them all to pitch? Is that how it?
There's lots of different types of sellers, and just like there's lots of different types of buyers. We happen to be a generalist or opportunistic buyer. We're not focused on certain industries. And sellers sometimes want to sell to somebody like us because they want to stay in the business and they don't want to exit on a sale transaction. And others are interested in partnering with someone who's more focused on a certain industry, maybe has a strategic asset in the space, and they're ready to retire. So every situation is different. Yes, correct.
All right, thank you. It's very nice to meet you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.